to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today with me, your host, Brandon Foster. Are you a badass peep with big dreams, ready to turn your unrealistic goals into reality? Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. The unrealistic can suddenly become realistic for you if you believe it. Are you ready to take your dreams and results to the next level? Then stay tuned as we help crack open the door to new ways of impactful thinking and believing about yourself with mindset practices for badass people like you. Confident AF Live starts right now. Hey, boos! Welcome to Confident AF Live again, or maybe for the first time. My name's Brandon. I'm super excited that you guys are here today. Can I just tell you guys that? I'm actually going to put my hand over my heart right now for all of you who are listening, and I'm just going to send you love. I'm just going to say thank you. No matter what you're doing, if you're in the carpool line and you're listening to me, if you're at the gym and you're listening to me, if you're like Jacob, the producer who has to listen to me, whoever you are and wherever you are, thank you for taking the time to listen. And I hope that today will bring you a really amazing mindset shift, some incredible encouragement, some incredible love, and just really, really help you. And if it helps you, please share it with someone you love and care about. Woo, that felt so good. Okay, so today I'm talking about something that is really like kind of blew my mind when I realized it. And I want to share this story first. I think that's important to frame this because if you guys seen the title of the episode is The Belief That's Worse Than Not Believing in Yourself. And I'll be honest, not believing in yourself is really not good. Okay, like that is not good because when you don't believe in yourself, you have a pattern of thought that says, I can't be who God created me to be. And that's what happens, right? So you have this desire for your business, for your life, for your purpose, how you want to bless the world. And when you don't believe it's possible for you, you don't believe it, you're never going to take action to do it. And the reason why that's so incredibly important is because you only take action if you believe it's possible for you. Why would you take action if you don't believe it's you? Otherwise, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of space, and a waste of energy. But what people miss about not believing in yourself is that when you have that desire and you don't believe in yourself, it creates this weird thing, this cycle of like guilt and shame and judgment and guilt and shame and judgment because God does not agree with you. I mean, the desires in your heart were put in your heart for a reason because you can do it. All the tools and resources are already within you. You just don't believe it. So to say all that, now you know why believing in yourself is so incredibly important, which means that this episode about what is worse than not believing in yourself is like, whoa, what's going on? So here's the story. Whenever I think about the three main reasons we don't get what we want, I think I first learned these three reasons so succinctly, I should say, because they're in a lot of people talk about this, but so succinctly was from Amanda Francis. I love you, Amanda. And the three reasons why most people don't get what they want is number one, they don't believe they can have it, which we just talked about. Number two, they don't feel worthy of receiving it, which is basically there's guilt and shame. So you don't feel like you can have it. And then the third reason is you don't feel safe to receive it. And that's what self-sabotage is. People are like, I don't know if I believe in self-sabotage, or I don't know what self-sabotage is. Self-sabotage is just, you don't feel safe to receive what you keep asking God for. And so God gives it to you and then you push it away because you don't feel safe to receive it. Great analogy of that, just so we get a clear picture, would be the dad who's really proud that the son passed the driving exam and has been driving so safely and so amazingly. So he decides to reward the son with the ability to drive his brand new Ferrari or Maserati or whatever expensive car you want to put in there. And the son, who is overwhelmed with that new thing that he's going to be able to receive, which we talked about overwhelm in the last episode. So if you guys did not hear about overwhelm, go check out the last episode. It was really, really good. And so self-sabotage is the son literally saying, Dad, I can't drive this car. I'm scared I'm going to break it. I'm scared I'm going to crash it. I'm scared I'm going to mess it up, the engine. I can't take it. I can't receive it. That's self-sabotage. You don't feel safe to receive it. And God is not going to force you to have something you're not ready for. The dad is not going to force the kid to get in the car and drive the Ferrari if they don't feel comfortable driving it. The dad's just going to say, okay, I'll just take it back until you're ready, right? And we do that in our life, and we do that in our business. So what is worse than self-sabotage, not feeling safe to receive it? What is worse than not believing? What is worse than not feeling worthy to receive it? Let's talk about it. It is the belief that what you do and who you are is not good enough. It's a belief in who you are and what you do is not good enough. I'm getting emotional kind of just talking about this because I remember the first time I hopped on a call with someone who was interested into my mastermind program, Born to Slay. And I was going through all the kind of questions and pain points and just the scenarios that I always go through when I'm coaching anybody, whether it's a group call or individual call. And I remember kind of taking a step back and being like, God, I'm really stumped. Like, what does this person need from me? And it was weird because it's like, I know I can help them. I know, God, you have this person sitting in front of me for a reason, but I can't pinpoint it like I normally can. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to another level, God. We're going to the next level. What is this? What is this? What is this? And I remember going through the three things and I'm like, do you feel worthy to receive it? Yes. Do you believe you can have it? Yes. Do you feel safe to receive it? Yes. And if someone is not being honest, I can tell because there's hesitation. I can read their body language because these are over Zoom. And this person, like every single question was like, there's no hesitation. Like, God, like they do believe all these things. Like what am I missing? What am I missing? And the further I dove into our conversation, all of a sudden, like God gave me that divine talent. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person believes in struggle. Like life is only about struggle, and what they do is never good enough, and they always have to prove themselves. And the reason why that's so dangerous for your business, especially, is that if you feel like what you do is never good enough and you have to prove yourself, your clients will never be satisfied. They will always want you to prove why your prices are what they are, prove your service. They will never feel like what you're offering is good enough. Your marketing will never get the results that you want. You'll never get the leads that you want because your marketing will never be good enough to get the results that you want. Your website will never be good enough because you will never be satisfied with it. So your website is never going to be good enough to entice people to actually click and book a call or to reach out to you or whatever it is. Your team will never feel like your leadership is good enough for them. They will always want more. They'll always expect more. They'll always want you to prove and validate why it is that they have to do what they have to do and prove and validate what you're giving to them. Can you guys feel what a slippery slope, what a dangerous slope that belief is? And the reason why it's a terrible way to live your life is that oftentimes, if someone doesn't believe in themselves, they're not taking action, right? So it's very easy for any high performance coach, mindset expert, self-help guru, it's very easy for them to say, well, you don't have what you want because you're not taking action. And so what happens is people will invest in a high ticket coaching program. They'll invest in their business. They'll invest in and education, and they invest in education, and they actually implement everything. They actually are doing everything that is required. Oftentimes, they'll actually do more, which is even crazier. Like they'll get 2 degrees instead of 1 degree. Or if someone says, hey, you have to go do, like for a travel agent, you have to go do a bridal show. Instead of doing 1, they'll do like 6. They say, okay, you got to do Facebook ads. Instead of doing like $100 ads to start, which is recommended, maybe they start at 300 or 500 or 1,000. And what happens is, because they don't feel like what they do is enough, they keep doing more, and 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 they start to burn themselves out. And then they wonder why none of it is working. And then they just feel like they have to do more, and it's still not good enough. Do you guys understand how this is just a horrible, vicious cycle to find yourself in? And I honestly think that this belief is more dangerous than like self-sabotage or not believing in yourself, because you're taking all this action. You're taking all this action, but it's not good enough. So you're not seeing any results or any rewards for what you do. And by the way, what you have to understand is that also impacts your relationships. People pleasing is definitely something that's related to this. I think it can be a little bit different, but people pleasing is a desire to make people happy based on behavior. That's what your behavior, that's what it is. You're trying to make people feel good based on your behavior. If you are someone who is also feel like what you do is never good enough, then you're going to have some friends or a husband or a wife or kids who, no matter what you do for them, it's never good enough for them. Like maybe your husband does something nice for you and buys you like crumble cookies, and you complain because you don't like the choices, and the husband or wife complains because they don't like the choice of the cookies. If you feel like what you do is not enough and who you are is not enough, that will be reflected back to you. Oh man, this conversation is so good. I cannot wait to hear all the people that share this episode with other people, because I feel like there's so many light bulb moments that are going off. And I'm so happy I got to share this, because I did a really, really small reel, and that's 1 minute. And now I get to like let it all out for my podcast. Oh. So this is not feeling like you're enough and feeling what you do is not enough is actually a disease that will, like I said, infiltrate all areas of your business and all areas of your life. Same thing with money. So if you believe that what you do is not good enough to change your finances are not going to change. Oh my God. Do you guys, this is like a snowball. This is like a snowball effect or a domino effect. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, God, we have to fix this in society like today. Like, God, let the love be felt around the world right now that they are enough, that people are enough, that you don't have to prove anything. What you do is enough because you exist, and that is enough. I think the key thing that I want you all to hear is that, and this is really important, that everything in life we assign meaning to. So we assign what it means if we have clients or we don't. We assign meaning if we have the sales or if we don't. We assign meaning if we have the car or if we don't. We assign meaning if we have the relationship or we don't. We assign meaning if we have people buying our offers or they don't. And all of this assignment and meaning is us telling ourselves if we are lovable or if we are not lovable. That's what it is. It's assignment and meaning if we're lovable or not lovable. So with money, we say, well, I only make XYZ, so I'm not as worthy, aka I'm not as lovable as somebody who makes more. Oh, well, I drive this kind of a car, I don't drive that kind of a car, so I'm not as lovable and worthy as that person. And that's not true. You are a human being. You are worthy because you are. Lovability exists because you are a human being. That is why we exist. We exist to be loved by God, by the universe. We exist to be loved. In fact, that's why the Bible says God is love. When you say God is love, that literally means that God can't help but love you because you exist, and that's who he is. So when we tie in the idea and the truth that we're reflecting and assigning meaning to everything around us of whether or not we are lovable or not lovable, the idea that what we do is never good enough and we're never enough means no matter what we do, we're not deserving of the love that we ask for. No matter how we are, we're not deserving of being loved. And that is a false premise. It is not the truth. But when you say what I do is not good enough and I'm not worthy, you are judging yourself for your actions, saying they're not good enough, judging them. You're judging your identity, who you are, saying that's not good enough. Judgment is a separation of love. Hope you guys are, I'm going deep with you guys today. I hope you guys are following this. So if I'm not good enough and I'm not enough is a separation of love. And love is a reflection in our business, in our life, of the clients, of the money, of the well-being, of the health. Then you can see that if you continue to believe what I do is not enough and I am not enough, you're separating your love and you're never going to have the results that you want. So the way out then is to decide today that you are enough and what you do is enough. And the reason why a lot of people have a problem and a challenge of letting this in is because as human beings, we refuse to forgive. And a lot of people actually are very willing to forgive other people, but they're not willing to forgive themselves. They're not willing to forgive themselves. And you have to be willing to forgive yourself. And honestly, I have a whole course on that called FYES, Love Yourself, Love Your Life. And there's a whole module on self-forgiveness. Because when you forgive yourself fully and completely, you are allowing God's love in, and you're allowing grace. You're allowing in grace. Grace is unearned, unmerited favor. And this is why it can be even more frustrating for people who are doers and go-getters who are doing 3, 4, 5 times as much action as other people, and they see them that have 10 times better results. And then they say, what is wrong with me? And it's not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you. What happened to you is somewhere when you were a kid, when you were a child, you learned from society or religion or from your parents or whoever that you were taught that what you do is not enough and you have to prove yourself. And that is what you're drawing in and attracting in your life. And the reason why the other person who's doing way less action and getting way better results is because someone told them, you just get to be loved because you do. It doesn't matter what you do. God's grace and love fills in the gaps because you're loved and adored, and you just get to enjoy it. It's really crazy when you think about it that way. So, how do we move away from who I am and what I do is not good enough to what I do is enough? How do we bridge that gap in our life and our business so that we can receive the grace, the love, the joy, the abundance, all those things we want to receive? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to accept that that's what you believe and stop trying to pretend that you don't. Stop ignoring it. I tell people that oftentimes your limiting beliefs, which is just a pattern of thought you choose to believe that doesn't serve you, that is not the ultimate truth, that keeps you from your highest good, your highest potential. When you ignore it, it's like having a wound and you ignore it and pretend it's not there and you expect it to go away or expect your life to change. And a wound that is untended to is going to fester and rot. It can cause disease, it can cause paralysis, it can cause you to lose a limb, or worse, it can cause death. So ignoring and pretending like the problem is not there or that doesn't exist is not going to serve you. So the first step is always accepting that you believe that what you do is not good enough and acknowledging it. And here's a great example of how this happens. And this is from my own personal life. And the truth is that there's two perspectives. There's the parent perspective, and then there's the kid perspective, right? And your parents could have had all the good intentions of the world and done absolutely nothing wrong, but because of your own, emotional trauma is passed on in 3 generations, you could interpret their goodwill and well wishes and the amazing way that they're raising you in a negative light, and it's not their fault. So this is what happened when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was a straight A student. I was even salutatorian up to my junior year in high school, and then my senior year, I really didn't study as much, and I dropped to number 6 or number 5. But I remember that the rule was that if I got a C, I was going to be grounded for the entire trimester. So I never got a C. If I got a B on something, the first question my parents would ask was, is everything okay? And do you need a tutor? If I got an A, they would say, well, good job, but what did you miss? And if I got 100, they would say, great job. Was there not any bonus? And if I got over 100, they would say, oh, that's amazing. Did you get all the bonus? And if I got everything perfect, all the bonus questions, 105, 110, whatever it was, they would ask, can you do it again? And you could see as a child, when all you want is, I'm proud of you, I love you, great job, that thought process of, but there's another level, but there's another level, but there's another level, is the feeling of I'm not good enough and I have to prove myself. And from my parents' perspective, all they wanted me to know was I had so much potential. You are so smart. You are like the smartest person in the world. We love you. We care about, we want you to know how far you can soar. And that is a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful for my parents for that. I love my parents for that. I have amazing parents. But you can see how what was said impacts belief and how I thought as a kid, which as an adult greatly impacts my own behavior. So number 1, accept that you believe it. Number 2, decide to forgive yourself and detach from the idea that you have to be perfect, that what you do is not good enough, and that who you are is not enough, and that you're just feelings of unlovable. You have to forgive that and detach from that. Number 3, you need to begin to integrate that what you do is enough. Begin to integrate that what you do is enough, who you are is enough, and that grace is allowed to flow abundantly and freely into your life to help you and to support you. And number 4, and I think this is the biggest challenge, because I was talking to a one-on-one coaching client today, and she's had amazing progress in her business, just amazing progress. Super proud of her. One of the things that I've been really working on myself is I don't own client success and I don't own client failure, which means basically everyone is responsible for their own results and their own life and their own choices and decisions that they make. I am here to provide tools and resources, support and encouragement. But at the end of the day, my clients get to own their own success because they did the work, they did the choices, they worked with God, they did all the things. So celebrating all this amazing stuff that they've been doing, and they're wrapping up their, Born to Slay program with me. And I was talking to them about, what's left, what needs to be changed, what needs to be shifted, that kind of a thing. And she had this beautiful smile and she goes, I have to do this every single day. She goes, I'm doing the mindset work and it's working amazing, but I'm having to do it every single day. I can catch the old thoughts coming in. I have to guard my heart and guard my mind. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, but why is that? And I said, it's because you're still integrating. You're still detaching and you're integrating the new way of thinking, the new way of being who you are. And that process takes time. And the reason why it takes time is some wounds, some beliefs you've had for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. It's not an overnight thing to change how you think about yourself, how you view yourself, what you believe about yourself. However, it all adds up, it all stacks, and it's worth it. And over time, you're going to see amazing, amazing, amazing results. All right. I hope you all enjoyed this one as much as I did, about not needing to prove yourself, not needing that you are enough, that you get to receive all the things that you want because you do, because you exist, because you're loved, because you're adored. I'm so grateful you guys took the time to listen today. Make sure, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, share with friends and family, and more importantly, join the community on Facebook. I would love to see you there. I love you. Have an amazing day. You have been listening to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today, with host Brandon Foster on transformationtalkradio.com. Listen or watch live every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, where I help badasses like you with big dreams learn to take their impact and results next level, turning those unrealistic goals into reality. Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. For more information, get in touch with me, Brandon, at brandonrfoster.com.